Good afternoon. Welcome to the SupeScoop. I can't even remember the name of it. What is it again, Adam? Is it SupeScoop? I can't remember. What's the name of
I
it?
think it's SupeScoop, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. It's different every week. Blame it on my age. I'm telling you. But it feels good to have the mic in front of me and have these two wonderful guests. These two people are very, very important to me, particularly professionally. They played a big impact in my life, and we won't talk about that much. But I'd like you to introduce yourself so that everybody knows who you are, and those who don't know who you are.
I'm Mike Hansen. I'm a teacher over at the high school. Been here for 20-some years.
Anything
28
else?
years,
Yeah.
27 years.
Any leadership capacities in the district, or
Yeah, sometimes.
and what would that
Yeah, I'm the secretary treasurer of the Romulus Education Association. Also the department head of the science department.
be? Well, welcome. And
Okay, good afternoon. I am Sarah Carter. I am a reading interventionist at Hale Creek. This is my 25th year in the district. I am the REA president, and I am also the school improvement team facilitator at Hale Creek.
Okay, just for a little bit of understanding, what is REA? I don't think everybody would know what
Romulus
that is.
Education Association, the teachers union.
Okay, so the president, how long have you served in that position?
I have served in this position for 8 years. Prior to that, I was the vice president. Prior to that, I was just a building rep and a member of the negotiating team representing elementary teachers. So I just kind of started as a building rep and moved my way up over the years as I got more involved.
Leadership. Okay, great. So welcome. I'm going to just ask you a few questions. Answer however you'd like. That's what I like. I like the impromptu-ness. I'm adding that, making up a word. Impromptu-ness of the format, of this format. You can say whatever you feel like you want to say. Don't worry about the politics. Wrong community. We're good. Be who you are. So earlier, 2 minutes ago, I referenced like you two being pretty important to me in my professional life. What does that mean to you? When I said that, what does that strike anything? Do you understand what I'm talking about? Like for the people that may not know or may know, like, why are you two so important to me? And it's so true.
Well, I would think a couple reasons. So, one reason is because I think that the teachers union and central office, in particular, superintendent, HR director, haven't in the past had really strong relationships, really good relationships, communicating. That was very, very lacking. Really, there was no relationship at all. So, no collaboration between the two. We worked as separate silos or separate islands. The board office did their own thing. There wasn't communication with us. So, it was a contentious relationship. When you were hired the first time around, I think your first day, maybe second day on the job, you reached out to me and said, this is the type of relationship that you want with the teachers union. You want to collaborate. You want us to be in communication. You wanted to set up these monthly meetings, which we had never had that before. So I think that got us started on the right foot, that you really wanted us and knew that in order to make the district great, we have to be working together and communicating, whether we agree all the time or not with what we say or what we do or vice versa. So when you were first hired and then some things happen, you were terminated from your position and then luckily brought back almost a year and a half later. And that was, I think that the teachers, and not just Mike Hansen and myself, there were a lot of other teachers in our district that were involved with just keeping your name always in the mix of what was going on. You know, he worked well with us and he actually wanted to work with us. And I don't think we had ever had that before, where someone came in and actually wanted for the teachers to be a part of the conversation.
I really think that there are two kinds of leaders. One type of leader is one that can't really lead, They kind of dictate. They tell you how it's going to go. This is how it's going to go, and they don't want partnership. There's a second type of leader that is competent in what they do. They feel comfortable in their shoes, and they actually build teams. And I feel like that's what we have here now, as opposed to what we had in the past. In the past, we picketed a lot. Okay. We made little shiny buttons. We,
it's such a personality to me too.
Right.
It's like,
We came to a lot of board
here's my-
meetings and we picketed a lot.
and that's not the personality I am. I'm actually a real shy, quiet person. And for me to step up and talk at a board meeting, for me to carry a picket sign, it had to draw a lot inside me to pull me out to fight that angst that I had. But I felt like our leadership, Sarah and mine, aren't just with, like, our focus is the teachers, but really we're also focused on providing opportunities for our students too. And that's part of the problem solving, is coming up with ideas to make things better, to make our district better so that we can move forward for our students. So
Well, I appreciate that. I'd have a lot to say, but I'm going to be quiet. I hope that, at least while I've been here, that I have demonstrated the importance that you two particularly, and as well as the teachers union, but that's the collective. When I think about the individuals, like, I mean, there are times, I was just speaking last week at a conference, and I just talked about briefly my experiences, and it's hard for me not to get emotional every time I talk about it. So just gonna move on a little bit, if that's all right with you. So let's have a little fun. Hopefully this is, not that the mood is. So, just real fast. I want 3 adjectives that describe your time here in the last 20 years, then 5 years ago, and now 3 years ago. So just take a little snapshot, think about 3 adjectives from 20 years ago, then 3 adjectives 5 years ago, and let's do 3 adjectives now. So let's take that. However you'd like to do it.
20 years ago.
Yeah. Do you want to do it 3 and 3 or just 3 collective?
Well, 20 years ago for me, I guess the best thing
Now,
would
if
be...
they're not, I know you're a science guy. Now, if they're not adjectives, I know that Madam President's
Yeah,
going to say, I mean, so we'll just say
And
3
I
words.
tell my
3
students,
words.
math is
Yeah, I know
fine,
you. I know you.
English,
I know who you are.
don't ask me to spell
Right, I
it.
know you.
Don't
so just
ask
give
me
me
to spell
3 words, and you can.
Innovative?
I think
This
20
one is
years
different.
ago
It's
for me, it
different.
was inexperienced.
We don't need to, just the 3 words. Don't go on
Yep.
the why. Just give me 3. 20 years ago.
Yeah, inexperienced, green, exploring myself, I guess. I don't...
Sure.
So is this about the district or about us
Whatever I said
personally?
that describe your time here in the last 20 years. 20 years ago. Your time.
I was probably clueless too. That's probably a better one. Clueless back then.
Told you it'd be fun. Big kid.
I would say rule follower. I would say I wasn't really a leader yet compared to what it's evolved to. Not 20 years
3
ago.
words becomes
I know,
18.
it's just like I'm
Just
doing
3,
I'm doing
that's it.
phrases.
Boom, boom, boom. Nope. Boom, boom, boom. That's 2 though.
And I would say busy. I mean, I was teaching, I was learning, and
We're good.
Okay.
Just- boy, the teachers, they have a hard time following. don't
yeah,
they?
we
can get
don't
up to
follow
that.
directions
No, you don't.
good.
No.
I know
5
we
years
don't.
ago.
5 years ago, I would say becoming more comfortable in my skin, self-aware. I don't know if I got another one. I would have to think.
Okay. I want you to think. 3?
So 5 years
potentially?
ago,
Yeah. So that puts us at
stepping up
2021.
my 2020, 2021, I would say dark times. Dark times, dark clouds over the district, constant anxiety, I felt.
Yeah,
And I'm really not an anxious person. as far as just being
Why does she
nervous
make me
about
laugh?
stuff.
She just
but
cannot follow the.
no,
it's the leader in her.
it's
She just
I
can't do it.
No,
She
I can't
and
do
neither
a
can
word.
you.
But it was dark times. So that would have been like 2020-ish.
All right, speed us up now.
Now, more confident.
More innovative, like
That's you.
no, I think it's the
now
the
you're talking about
district.
the district.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Relaxed.
that's him.
And
Not the
looking to what's next, I guess, but it's not an adjective. But
For any student that's watching this, you can give
Getting
it to Mr.
towards the
Hansen.
end, but not feeling burnout. I guess like I know the end of my career is coming soon, but I'm not feeling like I can't get out of bed and go to work. I don't feel like that.
I would say we're kind of getting to a point where we're trying to train new leaders too.
Boy, I want to jump on that. I know it's
Train-
not a question, but boy, I want to
Train
jump on that.
people to take our spots in the future, whether it's within the building or in the REA.
Okay, so you just mentioned REA, and some of this has been about the district and REA. Let's put on your REA hat, both of you. I don't think you can ever take it off, but let's just say that. Tell me one thing that keeps you up at night. As a superintendent, I mean, I have plenty of things, but like if I had to isolate it, I'm sure I could come up with. But because you're leaders and you're leaders of the REA.
The
What's the
thing
one
that
thing that would keep you
motivates
up
me
at night?
right now and really irritates me is knowing where we were when we first started here 25, almost 30 years ago, and to see where we are at now. And I guess even as we get new leaderships within the building and whatnot, I want to see us keep growing and making this district a place for our students to be. Like, I want to steal back our students that left us. I want them to come back home. I want to see teachers come back home, and like have our teachers be old alumni, which we're starting to get.
Oh, you mean graduates.
Right.
And okay.
I was a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout, and one of the things that we did whenever we went camping was we said we need to make our campsite look better than when we received it. And that's kind of my premise for when I leave and take my next step is I would like my campsite, my school, my district, to be better than what it was when I received it.
It's powerful.
So
And
I
you,
think
Madam
I think
President,
mine is
what keeps you up at night?
I think it's not everyone has the same mindset that I do, and that irritates me, whether it's colleagues, whether it's parents or students. I feel like if everyone had a similar mindset, think about how great our district would be. So it's very difficult to combat mindsets of different people. You know, you can't make people care about what they don't care about. So that's difficult, whether it's work ethic or just mindset regarding how important attendance is, how important it is to try your best to get your work done. All of those things. It's just the mindset, and you can't. It's very difficult to combat that. Like if someone doesn't care, how do you make them change their mindset to care? That's what I feel like I've always struggled with in others, I guess.
So I'm doing very well staying quiet. Normally I'd just be interacting with the both of you two, but it's very fascinating. I wrote these questions out based on things that I think about too, like where I was 20 years ago, where I was 5 years ago, and where I am today. They're all different. And what keeps me up at night, I would say it's pretty much what you both said. I truly, like, there are some things that just really bother me. I wasn't in Romulus 25 years ago, but I had heard about Romulus and how outstanding it was. And then something happened in, I would say, around 2013 that changed a lot here, that I think changed the whole trajectory of the school district. You probably know what I'm talking about. I was just eating lunch with the mayor today. We go out once a month and just kind of talking about that. And, the glory days, I don't know if we will ever, I was not here to see that, but like to see it again, like there's too many conflicting interests. There's, two different charter schools in one day. That's almost unheard of. Two different ones. And then, you do have white flight that goes on in the district that, just things that people don't talk about in the community, but I think about, and things, keep me up at night. Like, why don't people work as hard as me sometimes? Selfishly, I say that, like, why don't they have the same passion? Like, how do you just get to go home? Like, I couldn't just go home because I know this community we serve and things like that. So it was just nice to hear that. I just really appreciate that, and maybe that's why most of the times we're on the same page. And even if we're not, we're always respectful about it. So I like that. So how do you, this is kind of personal, and I don't know if it's going to really throw you out there, but how do you describe the district to your friends? Not the people that are coming here, but just when you're out with your friends. When I'm out with my friends and I talk about my district, the district, my district, the district, I'm pretty direct about what I say, but I'm just curious. And again, listen, we live in a community, just what I said to a colleague who's superintendent in a high affluent district. And we were just talking about the difference between the two. I said, I can be who I want to be here. I am who I am, and I think I've earned that from the community. I don't have everybody second guessing what I say. I am who I am, and good and bad. This is who you get. You're going to get the honest me. So I think it's fair to just even ask you that. Like, what do you tell your friends? You've been here 20-something years. Like, what do you tell them?
How I feel about our students, I have a strong connection with them. A lot of times people will say, well, don't you feel afraid for your safety? And I don't.
That's just
Like, I know when stuff happens, my students are the first ones to come to my rescue. If they hear something's happened in my classroom, I get a train of kids coming to my classroom to make sure everything's okay and whatnot. I feel very safe. I feel very connected with my kids. And often I say my students need us. They need people to care about them, to advocate for them, because there's not adults outside of here pushing for them to be successful.
You think that would surprise people? And we'll certainly get to you, and you're more than welcome to talk. Do you think that would surprise people that there's not a lot of people outside of here that are your cheerleader? Because immediately people would say, what do you mean? They're parents? What are you talking about? Like,
Yeah,
think that would surprise people? Or
some students have cheerleaders in their life. And I would say it's a parent or grandparent. There are other students that are from kind of broken families, right? Where they're growing up in a foster care, or maybe a situation that they don't feel safe in. But I feel like when they're at school, they feel at least in my classroom, I feel that like they're safe there. Like, I don't know if I'm making sense or not.
To me, I work in this community, so
Right.
it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
It's when you're explaining it to your friends, and then
Like, I've had opportunity to just go to other districts. I'm sure Miss Carter would also too. And the one opportunity I actually had interviews, and I actually had tears in my eyes thinking about, I'm going to a better,
treasonous. This feels
another
treasonous.
district. But my kids really needed me because they had 3 subs. There were 3 subs covering English. There were 3 subs covering their math classes. They had subs all day long that could have made a 4th or 5th sub, and I don't feel like I can do that to them. Like, my final step, like I said, is I want to make my campsite better than how I received it.
And when we were hired, it's different than these new teachers and new staff members. They jump from district to district. Like, they're like our group, or it's like depending on when you were hired, we did not do that. Like, you were hired in, and furthermore, there weren't jobs. Like, you were lucky to find a teaching job at the time. So I definitely think, I have lots of teacher friends that work in other districts, and they have their issues too. They have their problems too. That, I mean, we all get together and we complain, and they have stuff going on too. But I also have friends that have been administrators in other district that also taught and were administrators here in Romulus, and they will tell me, Sarah, the teachers in Romulus can run circles around the teachers that we see now, just in either the training and professional development they've had, the types of mentors that they've had, and just dealing with the students. But the main thing is just building relationships, and the relationships not only I've had with the students, but I have with their families, because now I'm at the point where my former students are now bringing their children into the school. And so there's that relationship with the parents that I had them, in my class. So that's part of it too. And just, the relationships is always what's most important, and relationships are what's going to keep you where you are. When you're not making those connections with people or building relationships, of course you don't care about moving on to another district and going wherever, because the connection isn't there. So the people that have stayed here through all of the pay freezes and turmoil or whatever, it's because the connections and relationships aren't just with the families and the students, but they're with one another and they're with their colleagues. So that's a huge, huge part.
So every time I do these, I look up and I'm like, we've been talking this long, but it just goes so quickly and so easily. And again, I thank you for that, like your passion. So I'm going to skip to, I have a couple more, but I'm going to skip to this one. As this is a negotiation year here in this district, what do you think employees nationwide want to see when they come to the negotiation table? So I didn't want to make it about you telling me, what do people here want to see? But generally speaking, in your role, what do you think? This is a negotiation year for you all as well, and we have some other groups. But what do people want to see? Like, what do you most? What are the issues that you think people want you to address? And not you necessarily. I'm just saying I'm making it broader, like nationwide. What are the?
The number one thing is always going to be money. Especially with the cost of everything and just inflation. And so that's always going to be the number one thing, I think, nationwide.
What happens when a place... Well, go ahead.
I was going to go political.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Like, I think teachers want to be, like our current president says, nurses and teachers aren't professionals. And I think nationwide, teachers would like to be treated as professionals. And that would include professional pay.
I was going to say, how do you change that, though? There is that perception. And even people inside of education sometimes will look like that, like, they're wearing jeans or whatever it is, like just in anybody's mind, whatever they think.
The mindset.
How do you change that? How do you change
I don't know
that?
if we can. I think in politics, there's always got to be a scapegoat. And I think at times, like police and firefighters are looked up upon.
Now they are, right?
Vets are looked high upon. But teachers, I don't feel like we're, some parents will say, oh, we respect what you do in the classroom, but politically we don't hear that. They've destroyed the Department of Education, right? I feel like that needs to be addressed, like politically, and we're seeing it even in our School of Ed. How many students are going into teaching now? It's really decreased quite a bit.
Do you think part of that change can happen at the negotiation table, or there needs to be some kind of national movement? And if we get a national movement,
I think we need to get some politicians that can stand up and say, hey, teaching profession, education is important. Because you got one group of people, get too political, that feel that education is really important. There's another group that really wants their constituents to not be educated, to not be able to question what they're doing or saying, so that they can put out misinformation and have it be perceived as being the truth.
So I'll just challenge you quickly. Inside of Romulus, we have a state representative, Dylan Wagala, I think that. He was a former teacher.
Mm-hmm.
We should probably get him into the schools to talk to you all, or maybe I don't want to say your constituents, because your constituents are my constituents.
Mm-hmm.
But just, he gets it.
Mm-hmm.
He gets it. But he also takes a lot of stuff because he was a teacher and he's so pro-teacher. But might be somebody we might consider just bringing him in and having him talk to kids, or I don't know how to change it. It's disheartening.
And we've kind of gotten to a point where we're endorsing people. We never, we really did not want to get involved with local school boards, but we found that when we didn't, those politicians came at us harder. Right? I mean, the reason why we're seeing positive changes now, I feel, is because we got involved. Not necessarily what we did, but we did endorse candidates. We did push for them to be elected. Some were good, some were bad. Right now, we're in a good swing, and I would like to see us continue with that.
At the local level,
Yep.
we have 4 seats up where for
And that scares me.
Romulus School Board.
That scares me.
You? Imagine if your job, well, yours is, but I was going
Right.
to say when your job's on the line.
So one thing nationally that I do not like that has been going on with teaching is, a lot of people stopped going into teaching, the pay's not good, you're not respected, all these things. So then what happens then? Oh, we're having a teacher shortage, of course, because you've just said, that basically all teachers are horrible and don't know anything and whatever. And then they kind of put, this false narrative out like, well, anyone can be a teacher. Go ahead and go do this alternative program to become a teacher. And so now we're dumbing down how difficult it is to actually be a teacher by making it easier I feel like, for people to come into the profession. Because if I'm going in for surgery, trust me, I don't want my surgeon to have gone through an alternative program.
I need to know where your degree.
Right. I need to know exactly where you went to school, and no alternative programs, please, because that wouldn't even be allowed in any other profession. But for teaching, it's allowed for some reason. So that makes me crazy when I hear about, alternative programs, or when I'm talking to someone like, oh yeah, I didn't know, I was in college, I didn't know what to do, I just decided to go into teaching. Like it's some easy thing to do and everyone can do it. Everyone can't do it, and everyone isn't meant to do it.
And everybody's not good at it.
And everyone is not good at it.
And to start out, I think most of us weren't good at it. I can say I was a terrible teacher when I started. I feel like I'm within myself now.
I'm never fast enough to that, but no. So I'm going to ask, I know time is running out. I'm going to have 2 more questions, but why are unions still important to the landscape of this nation and the RCS pathway forward? Why are unions still important to the landscape of the nation and the RCS pathway forward as well?
Unions are the voice of the workers. Like there are no school districts, there are no companies without the people working to make those companies and make those school districts and schools great. So that's where the collaboration comes in, and everything that has to do with the climate and culture of a workplace. That's how.
Yeah, I kind of look at it that we got to work as a team. If we're all working and walking the same steps in the same direction, we're going to make a lot of progress. Whereas if we're constantly butting heads, then we're creating more insults for one another, creating more angst, and we're not going to be able to make the positive strides that we need to make. Nationally, for a union, I think again it goes back to wages, hours, working conditions, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've always, that's important. Like we went through a period in your intermission where they thought that we needed to continue teaching during Act of God days, that we needed to have an office at home and actually teach kids on snow days.
Virtually.
Virtually, yeah. Um, we kind of piped up and said, no, that's not cool. Like, not all of us have internet at home. Not all of us have the tools. Is the district going to provide us with the tools to do that? And that was going to be too expensive to do. So, having a union to be one voice for your people to move in the direction that is good for the group, I guess is.
Good. So here's the last question, and I'll model it. It's what are you most proud of here? And I want two answers. I want two perspectives from you. As a union leader, your time here, and as your time as a teacher. I'm going to start with mine just as superintendent. One of the things, not but one of the things I'm most proud of, it's just recent, is that I've had to call school days. I've had to call inclement weather days and school closures. And it was important to me last year when I thought about it that there are plenty of people who are hourly wages and earners. So when the schools close, they don't make money, and then they have bills to pay. So one of the things that I'm most proud of is that I made certain that those employees are still paid. When you're off, they're off. They don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I don't get 8 hours. That was very important to me, and we were able to do that as of last year. So I think it puts employees at ease and not being anxious about, there's no money. I can't imagine not paying my bills. I just can't imagine it for something I had nothing to do with. So that's just one of the things that I was going to throw out. But to you, and then we'll end on that note. Two things, or if you just want to do one, however you'd like to do it. What are you most proud of here in terms of your union leadership, and what are you most proud of in terms of the time as in the classroom or leading?
I would say what I'm most proud of with union leadership, no matter if it's on the side of the employer, or meaning, you, Romulus Schools, or if it's the side of the teacher, I'm always on the side of what's the right thing to do. And I feel like that is part of my integrity of a person. I will support a teacher and make sure the teacher has due process, but if they're not doing what's right, or if they didn't do what's right, I'm not going to cover for them. I'm going to make sure that everything's done fairly. So I really am, I'm going to be on the side of what is the right thing to do. So what's the right thing with someone's employment? What's the right thing with a student's, something that maybe happened with discipline or a grade or whatever? What is the right thing? Get all of the information of what happened, and even if I'm in the wrong, what is the right thing to do, and what is the honest thing to do? So that is what I think is, one thing that I always try to do and strive to do as the union president. And sometimes, teachers don't what, the district isn't wrong. This is what our contractual language says, or no, I'm sorry, I can't file a grievance because nothing was violated, where there's no grievance to be filed. So sometimes you have to have hard conversations, but I'm not just gonna cause problems to cause problems unless there's a reason to, so I'm gonna stand on what's the right thing to do, period.
I would say professionally, I'm most proud of the relationships I've built over the years with my students.
Yeah, same.
The nice thing about Facebook is I see that a lot. Or I see, one of the greatest things is when that student comes back to visit you, after a while, and they let you know how successful they are. And sometimes it's that student that you bang heads with, and that's the one you make most impression on. So for me, that's and it's really kind of cool right now that I'm getting students of parents,
Right.
and even though that's adding gray hair to my head, but it's just super cool, and to hear how the student had their parents talk about me, that's fun.
Yeah.
Union wise, I'm proud of the point we are right now. Like, we fought extremely hard to get to this point. We fought really hard to get a school board in, and to work with the school board. We fought hard to get leadership at the board office. We've even fought hard at trying to get good leadership at the building level. And I think that's what I'm most proud. You know, all the days that we were outside picketing in the cold, me learning how to speak in front of people at the board meetings. I mean, that would just not happen. I learned to be able to communicate my ideas and keep the pressure on leadership to continue to improve. And like right now, I'm really proud that I'm able to come and talk to you or talk to Mr. Brock, and I can say whatever the heck is on my mind. And you guys are able to respect that. And it's both ways. You guys can say whatever you need to me, and we still have that respect. We still have that working relationship. That's
Yeah, and professionally, like I had said earlier, definitely the relationships, building the relationships and going out in the summer with former students that have graduated college and taking them out to dinner. So that's the
And
best.
they pay. No. No.
I wouldn't ask
No,
them to do
we-
that.
We know who you are, Sarah Carter. Listen, I thank you. I hope this was rather easy, because I said it would be easy. And I've never sat so long and been this quiet. But on a personal level, I appreciate both of you too. And I probably could never say it enough to you. What you did for me in my career, you resurrected my career. Those 14 months I struggled with purpose. When you lose your purpose, I think we're all purpose driven in this room. And then when somebody snatches your purpose, what do you do?
Yeah.
So I learned that the hard way. I mean, it was a hard 14 months, but I thank you for all the things that you have done for me, all the things that you have done for teachers, all the things you have done for kids, all that you have done for this district. And you've seen the worst of times for sure. I hope that we get to the point where you feel like you've seen the best of times too. So thank you so much. And I look
Thank
forward to
you.
working with you in the next few months, or however long we have, but the next few months, I know it's negotiations, and I look forward to that too. So
Yeah,
thanks
Carter
again.
bought me some boxing gloves.
I brought some too this year. Thanks so much, though.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.